Thank you for coming to Starbright Storytime. This is the review of books from week 14. We are still in the month of February, celebrating Black History Month. So many of the books that I have chosen for this month feature persons of color in the story or as the protagonist. The first book for this week is Jabari Tries, a book by Gaia Cornwall. In this story, the young protagonist decides he wants to do a project and make a creation. Throughout the story of the book, he gets a little frustrated as each attempt fails. His patient father teaches Jabari how to stay calm and work through frustrations. He also encourages the boy to enlist the help of his little sister, and together, Jabari and his little sister are able to persist and get the project off the ground. Finally, the project takes off. It's a beautiful story of encouragement. Jabari Tries by Gaia Cornwall. The next book for the week is Jabari Jumps, also by Gaia Cornwall. Jabari in this book has learned to swim, and at this point he is excited to try out the diving board. As they get to the pool, his fears overcome him. Fear of heights, fear of jumping. Perhaps he's feeling a little peer pressure from the other children at the pool. The diving platform is rather high. But his father, again, is very supportive. One thing in this book that I really like is when his father says, "It's okay to feel a little scared. Sometimes, if I feel a little scared, I take a deep breath and tell myself I am ready. And you know what? Sometimes it stops feeling scary and feels a little like a surprise." Looking at your fears, facing your fears, while keeping in mind that the unknown is a surprise, is a great attitude to have when challenges arise. Of course, by the end of the story, Jabari makes it to the top, takes his plunge, and has a blast. This is Jabari Jumps by Gaia Cornwall. Both of her books here are wonderful stories of encouragement. The next book is Chick and Pug, The Love Pug by Jennifer Sattler. This book I posted on Valentine's Day, and I wanted to find a book that was sort of on theme for the Valentine's Day holiday, as many children celebrate the sharing of friendship and love while they're in school. So far, these books have been beginner level reading. So this book is pretty cute, and the author, it looks like has used a little bit of digital art as a way to create her illustrations. It's a fun little storybook. Chick and Pug, The Love Pug by Jennifer Sattler. And then moving on, we start getting into the more advanced reading. The next book is called I'm Trying to Love Rocks by Bethany Barton. This is an introductory book as far as geology facts and learning about rocks. Many children are attracted to rocks. When we play outside, we're interested in twigs, sometimes insects, and rocks, flowers. It's good to learn about the natural world around you, and a lot of these things can be found in playgrounds. This particular book focuses on how different types of rocks are made, how they are created naturally. It's educational, background in science. Again, it's a wonderful introductory book for children that might be interested in rocks or geology. I'm Trying to Love Rocks by Bethany Barton. The next book on the list is Magic Trash, A Story of Tyree Guyton and His Art by J.H. Shapiro, with illustrations by Vanessa Brantley-Newton. This book follows the story of Tyree Guyton and his art and the neighborhood surrounding Heidelberg Street. It was a neighborhood suffering with crime and trash, and Tyree, with his creativity and ingenuity, was able to breathe new life into garbage, and this was his path from a young age, very creative. And when he became older and returned to Heidelberg Street, he saw the state of the neighborhood and was concerned. He began creating more art and displaying it through the neighborhood, transforming trash into art, and it uplifted the neighborhood. It sort of protected the houses. This book is definitely a more advanced book, more advanced concepts. The reading comprehension is a higher level, mostly because of the subject matter covered in his story. But it's a bright book, and it touches on a true story about a neighborhood overcoming. And Tyree Guyton's art is famous, world known. The neighborhood became famous due to his art. And this book actually makes a good book for a child's research project or book report. Magic Trash, A Story of Tyree Guyton and His Art by J.H. Shapiro, illustrated by Vanessa Brantley-Newton. Next on the list is My Brother Martin, A Sister Remembers, Growing Up with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by Christine King Ferris, illustrated by Chris Soempier. Chris Soempier? The illustrations in this book are outstanding. The artist does a wonderful job of depicting the characters of the story consistently. And Christine King Ferris, the sister of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., tells a wonderful story of what their childhood was like growing up, what Martin Luther King Jr. was like growing up, and also tells us about the times and the segregation. It made a good book for celebrating Black History Month. The lessons learned and how the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. became inspired to have such big dreams and to make change. Christine King Ferris did a nice job putting together the story of his childhood, of their childhood, and celebrating the dream. My Brother Martin, A Sister Remembers Growing Up with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by Christine King Ferris, illustrated by Chris Soempier. The last book for the week is called The Other Side, written by Jacqueline Woodson, with illustrations by E.B. Lewis. Jacqueline Woodson is an author who has a few books published. This is sort of an account of, or at least a reflection of her childhood and what it was like growing up in the South during a time of segregation. There was a fence that was erected in her neighborhood separating the whites from the blacks. And despite that fence marking division between two communities, the protagonist of this story and a neighboring little girl make friends through the fence. They do not let the fence divide them. Over the course of the summer, they spend a lot of time together and enjoy each other's company, because friendship is about people finding something in common. And they don't see color as being a reason for them not to enjoy sharing the playtime of childhood. Together they build childhood memories. It's really a story about taking down the fences of segregation, taking down the division. It's a very nice book as part of the celebration in honoring Black History Month. The Other Side by Jacqueline Woodson, with illustrations by E.B. Lewis. My brother Martin. A sister remembers growing up with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Magic Trash, a story of Tyree Guyton and his art by J.H. Shapiro, illustrated by Vanessa Brantley-Newton. I'm Trying to Love Rocks by Bethany Barton. Chick and Pug, the Love Pug by Jennifer Sattler. Jabari Jumps by Gaia Cornwall. Jabari Tries by Gaia Cornwall. These are the books read during week 14. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope that they were educational for your children. And I thank you very much for coming to Starbright Storytime.